Hello, this is Angel Aura Divination, and I'm here to give the collective reading for the, the third or fourth week of June, which I'm actually going to be entitling the end of June readings. So this can really resonate for you throughout the last 2 weeks of June, since I'm doing these readings a little bit early in comparison to when the actual end of June 2021 is. This is a collective reading, meaning that this can connect to anyone who comes to this reading who connects to the collective, whether that's collective on this channel, the collective on YouTube, or greater collectives outside of that. I'm going to be utilizing the Isis Oracle to get the main theme of the reading. I'm going to be using the Energy Oracle to get some deeper information on some of the energies that we might be experiencing together as a collective moving forward throughout this time. And then I'm going to be using the Tarot to get some deeper clarification from what the Energy Oracle is communicating about the theme that the Isis Oracle has given us. So let's start. I'm going to be reading directly from the Isis Oracle guidebook. All the rest of the reading will be intuitive. I would love it if you liked this video. Leave a comment if it resonates for you at all. I would actually find that very interesting. I also would appreciate if you subscribed, especially since I'm going to be posting this reading before I post the rest of the readings associated with the collective reading that this is going to be for. Interesting. So the oracle card that we have from the Isis Oracle is called Goddess of 1,000, or a Goddess of 10,000 Names. Isis, endless emanations of the priestess. An interesting fact about Isis, she's called the goddess of many names, who goes by many names, or, which is true because she does go by many names. And if you actually research or study Isis, she is one of many goddesses that kind of represent the same thing around the greater Mediterranean and even the, I guess they would call it the Levant areas of that time period. That a lot of people worship these deities during that time period, and one of the deities was Isis. There were a lot of other ones though, like Persephone. The popular ones would have been Persephone, Aphrodite, Ishtar, Inanna, and other goddesses like that. Some of them kind of get a bad rep, but these are like the ancient love goddesses that kind of, were the first kind of personifications that we really had for love as a collective, right? And so this card is really about that energy of understanding that regardless of who it is that you might be working with when it comes to your guides, that honestly we are all one collective. But deeper than that, and how this relates to, the oracle itself, is that it's really also saying, we are a collective. And it doesn't really matter what we call it or how we say it. We are all connected, right? So you could say that you're connected to the collective of the Angel Aura Divination channel, for example. That's a very small collective. There's not a lot of people who follow me on this YouTube journey that I'm going through right now, and that's okay. But that's a small collective because I'm reading for all of these people, and I've done a lot of readings in the past 2 weeks since I've come back to YouTube, and a lot of information has been given about your own personal journeys, and it has to have resonated with at least some of you, because people are liking the videos, people are leaving comments, and people are subscribing. So that's just one way that this energy is really talking about. It's saying that we're focusing more on what the collective is as opposed to what the label for the collective is. And how this is going to be related to the oracle is the oracle's going to speak about the names of Isis, and even possibly the name of you. What name do you go by? And how does that affect your identity? If you make yourself a part of a larger group, does that affect who you are? Or does that change your soul mission? Does that affect the energy that you exude moving forward after you become a part of a group? So let's get information on the card and give the reading here. Goddess of 10,000 Names, Isis, endless emanations of the priestess. Isis, with many names, forms, associations, and expressions, is referred to as the Goddess of 10,000 Names. A name holds power. It defines and energizes or limits. The names, faces, and roles that you play are just one part of your being, yet you exist beyond them. Beloved initiate, as a vast being, you are currently realizing that you are not limited by previous identities you held. Instead, you are becoming more of your whole self. Enjoy the uncovering of even more of you. And this is actually saying, on a broader scale, that by connecting to the collective, even if it's not this collective where I'm reading this collective reading for you, you are not only further emphasizing your own personal identity by understanding how you exist as a whole within humanity, but you're also expanding your consciousness to the possibility of who you could be and also who you have been. You are connecting not only to yourself in the present moment, but yourself of the past and yourself for the future, because because who you are and how you identify as a part of a whole or as part of a group is also going to change how you are when you make decisions. It's kind of like when you decide to have children, you don't just make decisions for yourself after that. You start to make decisions for the family that you're in. When you get into a committed relationship, it's the same energy. When you have pets, it's the same thing. When you make deep soul connections with people, it's the same thing. You move into an apartment with roommates, it's the same thing. You no longer just make decisions for yourself. Even if you don't talk to the people you live with, or you don't have great relationships with your family, you're no longer simply making a decision for yourself. But that helps you define who you are, how you exist in those relationships or in the greater collective that you exist in. Helps you to understand who you are. And that's what the general theme seems to be for this reading, which is also relating directly to how you call yourself. Are you Scorpio? Are you Libra? Are you Leo? Are you Aquarius? Or are you part of the Aquarius collective? Are you the Aquarius collective? What does that mean for you? The decisions you make, and this is not just about these readings, obviously, but the decisions you make, how do they affect the collective? And things like that as well. So the first energy oracle card that we have for this reading, we have Patience, talking about divine timing. This is a 16, reducing down to the energetic vibration of 7. 7 being about divinity, 7 being about divine harmony, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. 7 is actually about the intellect. It's about the mind, the different aspects of the mind itself. This card is all about divine timing. It is about your connection to your intuition and allowing yourself to make the moves you need to make and do the things you need to do to benefit yourself and also benefit the whole, which is what intellect and intuition is about. Developing that brain power to be able to make choices and to understand the universe around you. And I think patience and understanding divine timing right now, the message from the card is that you need to connect to your guides to develop your relationship to the universe, your relationship with divine timing, to the extent that you are allowing things that need to happen for you, need to is the key word, to happen for you as they do when they do, instead of forcing things to happen by taking irrational action. Okay, so let's get some tarot cards out for this. They're actually emphasizing these flowers. So it seems that you might even be waiting for something to grow or bloom. You might be waiting for something to change. You might even be waiting for resurrection in some kind of way, whether that's resurrection of a relationship, resurrection of some kind of redemption in your life, waiting for the resurrection of some things of the past, whether this is past life information. Some of you could be even dealing with Akashic record work and things like that. Okay, so the first card out that we have, speaking of resurrection, Judgment. You are growing stronger in your own discernment and in your own intuition. You are connecting to your guides and allowing them to speak through you and for you when you need them to, which is further emphasized from what I was saying about the Patience card. This is giving you a stronger sense of discernment. This is pushing you, they said forcing you. This is pushing you to really grow, to go deeper into yourself and understand how to move forward, how to do the things you need to do to get to where you need to go. A lot of my readings tend to be about manifestation and also about finding your own personal power, because that's a big thing for my own journey, and I want to be able to share that with others. And so that's kind of where the energy is leading you to as well, where it's kind of like you're being pushed to find your own personal power. How do you make decisions, and where does that come from for you? Where does your ability to make better decisions for yourself stem from? Why? The next card out that we have is the Star. This is talking about healing. This is talking about the divine nature of you that you're connecting to. Okay, this is actually also talking about your soul. It's talking about you connecting deeper to your inner soul, which is the energy of the Akashic records that I was pulling out of the Patience card, where you are doing that inner work to figure out why am I the way that I am in this life and in possibly even in past lives, because the Akashic records is basically a record of who you were in past lives and the lessons that you were supposed to learn on a soul level, not on a mental level, not on an intellectual level, on a soul level. And so you might even be doing that inner child work as well, and understanding the cycles that you're going through. They said the cycles that you're entertaining, the cycles that you're going through right now. So some of these cycles might be situations that you're entertaining, or things that you're doing just because you don't have anything else to do type energy, where it's kind of like you are not really... Some of us in the past might have even had the ability to, or the tendency to, not change our ways, even if we knew that some of our own personal cycles or tendencies were toxic or not positive for our own connections or our own relationships, or possibly even our own soul growth. And we didn't change our ways because we didn't, like, it wasn't fun to be like working on ourselves. It wasn't fun to be the spiritual person who really focused on soul growth. It wasn't fun to be the person who thinks about their past life and if they're going to be reincarnated and things like that. It's not fun, but I don't think that that's supposed to be fun. And I think, well, it depends. It really depends, because I am a very large advocate that your spirituality is supposed to benefit you. And somebody messaged me on TikTok the other day, because I do post a lot on TikTok and I've been doing a lot more connecting with my own audience. Somebody said that they had asked me a question about religion, and they had asked me, can I be Christian and still listen to tarot readings? And you know, I am not someone who wants to restrict others based on my belief or my opinion about the moral code that they follow based on their own religious beliefs, to my understanding. So I was never going to say that, does that coincide with your beliefs? Because honestly, that's not my opinion. That's not my business if it coincides with this person's beliefs. But I said to them, if this reading, or if my readings that you listen to, or any tarot readings, resonate with you and they help you feel better about your own situation, or they give you some insight or some food for thought, then why can't you listen to them? Basically, I was saying religion and spirituality is supposed to benefit you, and the way that you go about it is supposed to be about you, how you feel, what you need to do. It's supposed to enhance your life. And I think that's what the focus needs to be moving forward. When it comes to developing your discernment, when it comes to developing your relationship to your guides, when it comes to developing a relationship to your soul journey, it needs to be about how this can benefit you moving forward. That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that all of us are supposed to be hedonists and go and just say, screw the system and do whatever we want. Although a lot of us need to do that, I'm sure. But what I mean is, Be more conscious to why it is that you watch tarot readings. Be more conscious to why is it that you feel like you need to be a part of certain collectives or listen to certain readers, and what about those people attract you to their readings? What about those people and their intuition or their ability to read the cards, however they do it, makes you feel like you need to listen to them as opposed to listening to others? Why do you choose the guides that you have, especially if you're aware of the guides that you have around you? The next card that we have out is the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is kind of saying, you know, a big part of this for a lot of people is also to just be able to withstand the trials and tribulations of life. A big reason for understanding and even working with the universe, working with spirituality, working with spirit, as many people say, is to be able to go through life and be able to withstand the problems. You know, a lot of people have faith in the spirituality or the religions that they follow that give them the ability to survive. And I guess my point is saying that yes, that is part of it, but does that have to be it? So the next card out that we have is the Five of Wands. This is talking about competition. It's the energy of competition. It's the energy of conflict, internal and external. It is the energy of people telling you what to do or how to be. This card is also a representation of the possibility of people around you trying to knock you down or trying to send negative energy towards you. This is the energy of naysayers, or people who are trying to tell you what you need to believe so that they can believe what they need to believe a little bit better. That's not saying that this is geared towards anybody specific, but last week I talked a lot in the general readings about the need to spiritually protect the self, the soul, your energy, your aura, all those things. And how I do that, I do it in a couple of ways, and some of them I'm not going to say. I do crystal work with myself in my own space, especially when I do these readings. I normally utilize crystals for that. I work with my guides. I pray to my guides sometimes and things like that. I also pray to the greater forces of the universe outside of the limitations of my guides and things like that as well. And then there's the more physical things like crystals, like spraying Florida water for me in the air. That makes me feel good, so I do it. Burning incense, using herbs, stuff like that. That is just part of it, though, because it's also related to the relationship to those things and what your understanding of them can be, and how you move forward and actually take action towards protecting yourself spiritually, because it's also about your connection to those things, because you're the individual who creates the energy that sets those things ablaze energetically, basically. The next card out that we have is the Six of Swords. This is talking about moving into calmer waters after the conflict of the Five of Wands. And I really kind of saw this as you moving away from the energy of being fearful of spiritual attacks, psychic attacks, moving away from the energy of overthinking spirituality, the reason why you're spiritual, overthinking it, and they said not to question it, basically. The next card out that we have is the Six of Wands. Now, the Six of Wands is kind of like the energy of a victory lap, where you're starting to understand the relationship that you have to your own spirituality and what that means for you. You're really coming into a greater sense of clarity after getting through the trials and tribulations that might have been felt when other people were telling you how to be. And this can also be in relation to your own previous conditioning leading up to your own spiritual journey for a lot of us. So the next energy oracle card that we have out is the Sun. And in the traditional tarot, the Sun talks about clarity. In this card, it also talks about new beginnings because the Sun is on the energetic vibration of 1. This talks about connecting to the creative forces of possibly even the womb. This talks about the revelatory energy of clarity in your own life and remembering who you were or who you're supposed to be as well. This can even be the energy of you connecting deeper to the collective, in the sense that you are starting to be aware of the spirituality based on things like sun worship. For example, there's a lot of different personifications of the sun. There are a lot of reasons why people have worshipped the sun and why people associate light with positivity and energy and protection and spirituality and all these things. And the sun is a big part of that because the sun is the ultimate life force of this planet, right? And so coming into a greater understanding that, you know, that's one of the constants that we've had in a lot of these past lives that some of us have, or some of us believe in, where it's kind of like we understand the sun to be always there. And there's been a lot of the sun. You know, the sun is the reason for the season, literally. Anything else for the sun, for the collective? They said, actually, because I only got one card, and I think they're only going to make me read that one card. With the Seven of Cups, to clarify the sun energy. Okay, so my guides are kind of saying that the sun is kind of like, you know, you have a lot of options when it comes to your spiritual beliefs. Like it's like a car commercial or something. You have a lot of options when it comes to the car you drive. You have a lot of options when it comes to the spiritual beliefs that you hold. And it is up to you to determine what that is and how to label it yourself, which is what the reading is about. Labels and connecting to the collective, and how you do that through the labels that you set for yourself. Labels can be restrictive, but labels can also be that same energy of expansion for you. The Seven of Cups is here to basically say that while you have a lot of options, that not everybody is basically meant to take all of those options. That does not mean that any of those options are energetically better or worse than each other. It means that what resonates for you will only resonate for you. So moving forward, when you listen to the readings, if it don't apply, let it fly. But in a greater sense of things, that this is kind of how the law of attraction works, where how you vibrate and what you vibrate with affects what comes into your life and what goes out of your life. It affects your energy. So let's say, for example, that I wanted to win $10 on a scratch off that I bought from the gas station. I'm working with the law of attraction by telling myself and remaining positive that I might win something from the gas station lotto ticket if I scratch it off, and I remain positive about it. But that even if I don't win anything, that I'm still going to gain something from scratching off the ticket, which is the adrenaline rush of scratching off the ticket quickly and trying to figure out whether or not I won the game by winning the money. But when it comes to the law of attraction especially, you also have to focus on whether or not... Okay, that's me moving. Okay, anyway. Maybe it's not, that's confusing because my camera's not even shifting. Anyway, that's a distraction. When it comes to the law of attraction, you attract, you know, something that's similar to your own energy. So if you're negative and you tell yourself, I'm not going to win this thing and I'm not going to do this, and then you do the scratch off and you're negative about it, you lose the scratch off, and then you tell yourself, I'm never going to go do those freaking scratch offs again. You're setting yourself up for failure because you're telling yourself that you're never going to win. And now the lottery is a little different because it is kind of predestined which one you're going to get based on when you walk in there and buy it, but you don't know that information until you actually get it. And in a greater spiritual sense, it's the same concept to the metaphor that I was making it out to be. When you want to change your life or you want to change the way that you go about your life, or you want to change the things that you go through or that you're experiencing, a lot of it also has to do with your own perspective on what resonates for you, which is something that you can change, but that's all I'm going to say on that topic. The last card that we have from the Energy Oracle for the main part of the reading is the Thinking Woman. This is honestly I see this as a representation of you having a greater understanding of the relationship to the things and the concepts like divine timing and the law of attraction and vibrations and energy work for yourself, where you're starting to understand that there is study that needs to happen. There is a transformation that needs to happen for you in the mindset. There is something to be built in this life for you based on your actions that you take and the beliefs that you hold. What resonates for you will always resonate for you, but that does not mean that you cannot change your own experience based on your perspective and based on what it is you see as growth as well. And the reason why I say that is because I say that there's something to be built because she's standing in front of this cathedral-like building behind her, right? But that's not the only thing that's growing in the picture. There's a plant behind her that looks like a rose bush or something that's growing behind her. And she's a representation of that growth, especially in the mindset, because there's flowers growing all around her head. The flower crown is all about the representation of the expanded consciousness, the expanded awareness associated with the spiritual ascension, the spiritual awakening to yourself, to your journey, to who it is you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to become that person. This is a 47 reducing down to an 11. 11 being the same vibration as 2. 2 being about connection and duality, and 11 being about an expanded, okay, they said an expanded duality, yeah. So it's kind of like 11 would be 2 ones. 1 is about newness. So it's kind of like 11 would be a representation of a new reality, which is exactly what the 47 reduced down to a master number 11 would be. Coming into the new reality and really finding your place within that and understanding that who you are in the future is who you were in the past, because 11 does reduce down to 2, but who you are moving forward is greater than who you were, because 11 is the new cycle after we've come to the 9 and led up to the 10, which is 0. Even though 10 reduces to 1, which is the new beginning. Not the point. The first tarot card that we have out for the Thinking Woman is the Hanged Man. This is kind of a representation of that enlightenment energy, where a lot of people go through a lot of stagnation to reach spiritual enlightenment, or to reach a spiritual awakening for themselves, or to reach a greater understanding of their connection to the universe and things like that. And that with the 8 of Cups here, we need to move out of that energy and start understanding that a lot of the journey also is related to the actions that we take. And a lot of that is related to letting things that are toxic to us, things that do not serve us, go. Especially when it comes to relationships or associations. Which is probably why I was actually feeling the energy of trying to question why you listen to certain tarot readers or do certain things and call that your spirituality. That's not me judging anybody, and that's not even me telling anybody that who they listen to is wrong or bad, because I don't do that. I don't care to. It's more along the lines of, if you're trying to build something for yourself, how are you going to go towards that, and what do you need to leave behind or sacrifice to have that? It doesn't mean that you have to it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice things that you like or sacrifice the things that you enjoy, especially because that feeling and that relationship to the things that you like and the things that you enjoy is part of the relationship to yourself, right? It is part of the relationship to your body. You know, it's like you want to lose. It's the same thing as saying that you want to lose weight. You have an end goal here for your experience right now. You want to lose 10 pounds. You know, if I wanted to lose 10 pounds, you know, my first instinct would be to cut out cake. It would be to cut out soda. It would be to cut, and I like cake. That was the point. It was to be to cut out soda. It would be to cut out fast food, right? If I wanted to lose 10 pounds, like this week, you know what I mean? And what if I like cake? You know, what if I had some cake in the fridge? Am I going to throw out my cake because I want to lose 10 pounds this week? No. But 10 pounds in a week is a lot. That's not the point, though. Time doesn't exist, right? It's more along the lines of why would I throw out something that I enjoy, that's only going to be the experience of this lifetime for the sake of spiritual enlightenment? Why would I cut myself out of situations? They're saying it's the isolation energy of the hanged man, where you like hang yourself up, you know, to come into a greater enlightenment. Why would I do that? Why would you make the choice to do that, to isolate yourself for the sake of your spirituality, when your spirituality is supposed to be helping you get through the relationships that are difficult? Now, that doesn't mean that you keep things around you that are toxic, though, either, which is the other side of the coin. So let's get some more tarot cards out to kind of clarify what this is really going to be about. We have the Three of Pentacles. You cut things out that are toxic so that you can build better things, build better relationships, build new relationships and new situations, build new foundations, start new collectives, make the newness instead of focusing on the old. This is also possibly about soul family for some of us. You know, and that takes time. And that's what the divine timing was about. It takes time for that to happen. That's the last card of the tarot that I'm going to be pulling. I'm going to be actually talking about this bottom card from the Energy Oracle, and then I'm going to be done. This is Storm Warning. I think a lot of changes are going to be coming for a lot of us in this collective and in the greater collective as well. Storm warning is also kind of an indication that the universe is kind of pushing us away from old consciousness, old conditioning, old empires even. Because you look here, there's all these pillars here at the edge of the ocean, and they're all going to be knocked over by this tornado coming up to the beach, right? Or really, I guess that would be like a hurricane, and like lightning is striking down. This is the energy of 10. This is the new cycle for a lot of us. You know, this is a representation of, you know, a collective upgrade for a lot of us, you know, and when I say collective upgrade, I do not mean that we're all going to be awakened at the same time, you know. I mean, a lot of us are going to experience upgrades around the same time, or we're going to be experiencing change due to the need to break down old cycles and old habits, the need to move past this old form of conditioning that a lot of us have had, whatever that is. And this could be about the place that you live. This could be about the labels that you put on yourself, whether that's literally your name or something else. It could be, okay, how do I say that though? It could be about the group that you claim to be a part of. You know, all those things. And they're even saying that it could be related to the way that you identify yourself demographically as well. You know, is that going to serve you moving forward? Not in an egoic way, but in the general way of saying, do you really want to associate with people that identify as X when X hurts Y and Y hurts Z? Do you want to be X or Y? And why does that serve you? And if that serves you, does it hurt others? And is that okay with you? Are you okay with the karma incurred by being who you are and associating with the people that you associate with? And that's the collective reading. So leave a like if this resonated for you. I would love to hear about it in the comments as well. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this reading or you happen to stumble upon it. I'm going to be posting more readings for the general collective readings this week, and then I will be back. I'll see you in your next reading, guys. Goodbye.